So now we want to have a new folder in source. We'll call this jokes. Actually, no, we want to have components, and then we'll do the jokes folder. So right inside the components now, we'll make a new folder, and we'll call it jokes. And in here, in this folder, we will be storing the jokes list component as well as the jokes item component. So first, let's start off with the jokes list. So we're just going to write jokeslist.js, and inside this file, we will scaffold into it using RFC, which is functional component, React functional component. And over here, we can implement our jokes list component. So we will need to depend on the material UI library. So let's go ahead and install it before we continue with this project. So we're just going to do npm install material UI, and then so make sure to have the @ as well. We need to do the @ symbol and the material-ui/core. And then we're going to also do the icons as well. So we're going to do @material UI icons, and then -s at the end so that it will be added inside our package.json. Now we want to add the styles for this jokes list. We can just put it right above this component over here, and we'll make a new variable called use styles, and we will use make styles to make our style sheets. And then we can import. We have to import make styles because we are using this from the material UI core library, so we have to import it. So now the make styles will implement an arrow function for making the style sheet, and it will have a parameter theme. So it will emit a theme parameter that we can use if we want to, and then we can return the style sheet over here. So now we want to remove this root element, which is the div, and instead of the div we want to add box. And this box element is taken from our material UI library, and it has automatically imported for us. If it doesn't auto import for you, then make sure to import it from the material UI core library. Now for this box we want to style it, so we're going to do we need to get the styles. So we need to get the styles from usestyles and make a new variable called classes. So essentially we're going to use the usestyles function over here, and it will return our style sheet, and we will store it inside the classes variable. Now to use the styles, we just have to do write class name, and then we can use classes dot whatever style we want to use. And in this case we will be using the jokes list. So we need to make a new style called jokes list inside our style sheet. So we're just going to write it over here, and then we will make it. So now we want to apply this style, so let's make it inside the style sheet. And for this jokes list style, we're just going to do display flex, so that the elements inside the box, they can expand. And the width, we want it to set it to 80%, and the height will also be 80%. So we're setting the height and width 80% so that this wrapper, this container, wouldn't take up all the gradient, and we can still see the gradient behind it. And next we want to have a background color, and we will just make it red just to see how it looks. Next we need to actually add this element, add this component inside our app container, because we haven't actually added it, and it wouldn't show if we were to check it. So we just have to write jokes list, and VS Code has already imported it for us automatically. Now we can check it, and as you can see, it's taking up 80% height and 80% width of the height and width. That way we can see the background and the nice linear gradient behind it. Next we want to implement the left sidebar, well, the left container of this jokes list. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a new box, and this box we will call it, so we will use a specific style, and the style that we will use is going to be jokes list sidebar. It's going to be like a small sidebar on the left with just a nice image and some text. So I'm going to change these capitals to small case letters, because the naming convention for styles should be like this. And now I'm going to So now let's do the style for the jokes list sidebar. So first of all, let's give it a background color, and we will use this specific color, which is hash, which is hexadecimal color, so it's going to be hash and then 957 and then 5 again and then CD. So 9575 CD. And then we're going to give it display flex so that the elements inside this box, they can expand, and we want to make this a column, so we'll use flex direction column for this sidebar, and then we will use align item center as well to center everything. Give it a width of 30% as well, and let's see how that would look. And as you can see, this is going to be our left sidebar, and now we need to add some content inside it as well. But let's just finish off styling it, because we will need to do justify content center as well. Just like aligned item center, it will center everything inside it, and we want to align the text as well center, so that when we have the title, it will be centered. We also want to add a box shadow so that the sidebar will have a nice effect. It will look like it's coming out a bit more, it's popping more. So I'm going to include the box shadow inside the text file, and you can copy and paste it as well from there, or you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but it gives it a nice touch. Let's go back to our web page. Let's see how it looks so far. And as you can see, we have this nice shadow around it, which gives it a nice effect. So now we want to add some text inside the sidebar. So inside the box that we have just made, we want to add a typography and an image. So let's do the typography first. And for this typography, we want to give it a style, and for this style we'll call it JokeList style, JokeList title, sorry. So we're going to do classes.JokeList title. It's just going to be a title for the for the whole app. And let's just give it something inside the typography. We'll just do dad, and then we'll do it in 2 lines. So dad jokes, dad, and then break line, and then jokes. Let's see how that looks now before we style it. Okay, so it looks very plain. Now let's implement the JokeList title. And for the JokeList title, we're just going to do a font size of 3rm. And that should give it a bigger font size. REM, sorry. And then we'll give it a color of white, because right now it's black. And we will make it thicker as well using font weight. So font weight 700, that will make it much bolder. Okay, and let's do margin 60. Okay, that looks good. Now we just want to, let's do letter spacing 0 as well, just to reduce the letter spacing. Okay, now we want to give it an image below it. We'll just do some like emoji, and so we're just going to make image tags over here. Just going to be one tag, and then for the source of this image, we're going to paste in this SVG icon, and I will include this SVG icon in the text file. Now we want to apply a style for this as well, but before we do that, let's actually see it. So yeah, that's how it looks. We just want to make it smaller and style it properly. So now let's do the class name for it. So it's going to be classes dot sidebar image, and let's implement this sidebar image style inside the styles. Now for the sidebar image, we want to give it a width of 50%, because right now it's taking up too much space, so we want to make it less wide. So let's see how that looks, and yeah, it looks much better now. We just want to give it some shadow as well, so it can appear, it will pop more as well from the card. Just like the card is popping, we want to make the sidebar image pop as well. So I'm going to copy the box shadow that I used for the JokeList sidebar, and I'm going to apply it to the sidebar image, and let's see how it looks now. Okay, so we want to give it a border radius, because now we have this card. So let's give it a border radius as well. So let's make the border radius 40%. Yep, that looks very nice now. Now we just need to implement the list on the right side, and it will show us the dad jokes using the dad jokes item. So now let's continue, and let's make up another box after this box that we have just finished with. We'll make another box, and we will style it as well. So we'll do class name, and then we'll do classes dot JokeList jokes. Now let's implement this JokeList jokes style in the style sheet. So for the JokeList jokes, we want to give it a height of 90%. And we want to make the background color white. And let's see how it looks now. Okay, so it's not showing. We want to give it some width as well. So we'll do width of 70%. Yep, that looks more like it now. Let's align it center as well. So we'll do align self center. Okay, that looks much better. We want to also apply a box shadow as well, just like what we've done with the sidebar. And we're going to apply the same box shadow. Okay. And now we also want to do overflow scroll, so that we can scroll when it's overflowed. So now we want to make this come forward as well, the sidebar, so it looks more popping out. So we'll just do z index 2. So if we go to JokeList sidebar, that style that we have already implemented, we just want to add the z index property, and we want to set it to 2. And now you can see the box shadow is even being applied more just right next to the JokeList. Also the edges look very sharp, so we'll apply some border radius on all the edges. So for this sidebar, we're going to apply a border radius of 7, and same thing with the JokeList as well, JokeList. Yep, that looks quite, yeah, that looks a bit better. We just want to fix this left border radius angles. So for those corners, we want to remove them. So instead of doing border radius, we'll do border top right radius and border bottom right radius, because we only want to apply the border radius on the right side of those elements of the jokes list, and that does fix the issue. Now let's carry on implementing the jokes list, and we want to now make a new joke item. So we need to make a new joke component, so we can use it inside the joke list, and we can return many jokes using that joke component.